Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to the I Gotta Girl podcast. Coach Jackie here. And I got to tell you, this is going to be a big honor today because I've got the woman who helped me get this all up and running. And she's going to have to receive all this wonderful feedback from me because I adore her. And she's the one who really helped me kick off the I Gotta Girl podcast. So it's such an honor to have her back on my show. And I just was just on hers. And I'm excited to introduce Julie Marty Pearson to the world. Well, my world, because she's already been introduced to a lot of the world. And I would love for you to share whatever you want to share. Tell them all about yourself, Julie.
Well, thank you. I'm just like, oh, I love hearing that. You have no idea. And I will say that given the state of the world right now, one of the few things keeping me going is seeing my clients launch and move into this new space and be so excited and happy and all of that. So all of your energy keeps me going. So thank you.
You're so very welcome.
Oh, gosh, where to begin? No, not really.
It
So,
all started
hi
when I was
everyone.
2, right?
Right. When I was 3 years old, no. I will say, as a podcaster, I've learned to be good at storytelling and I could go for as long as you need me to. But I also know how to summarize it easily for everyone. So, hi, everyone. I am very excited to be here on the I Got a Girl podcast. I love seeing Jackie go down this journey of podcasting and exploring in this new realm. I am a podcaster. I am a speaker, author. Not why did I just say author? That's an interesting thing.
That
Okay.
that means you're meant to be in my anthology that I'm going to be doing. Just saying,
Maybe. That is so weird. And I'm not going to go off topic, but I've never said that before. I will say technically I guess I am an author because I did write a dissertation. And so that does technically count, but it's not a book I would ever share with anyone because it's not very interesting.
I love it. It's foreshadowing of the future.
I've been thinking lately about doing more, whether it's newsletters or Substack or something. I just haven't figured out what it is. So who knows? Maybe it's the Tall Girl's Guide to the World or something like that.
I love it. I love it.
So
You
why I
heard
say
it
that
here
is
today. You heard it. She's
yes,
putting it out there.
I am 5'11 and I've been 5'11 since I was 12. So let me tell you, I had a lot of I gotta grow moments around that and just such a weird reality. But I'm here to support you, Jackie, because yes, I am a coach. I mentor people to start their own shows, grow existing shows, become awesome guests. Ultimately, my goal is to get more women's voices in podcasting, whatever that looks like. We're still we are not the dominant force in podcasting. We're still lower than men in terms of hosts and guests. And I think in the world today, we all know we need more women and more women's voices and more women's stories. So I just love seeing my clients like Jackie get out there and start doing the thing and spreading their voice, but as well as supporting other women to do the same.
Ah, I love it. Well, first of all, I got to tell you, I'm only 5'1/4 inch. So I love that's what I love about Zoom because we all are an equal level playing field of height.
Yep.
And when people meet me, they do this thing. They go, "You're much shorter than I thought." They look down, and I forget we're either on YouTube or in the podcast channel. So they look down at me and they go, "Huh, you present taller on screen." I'm like, "Okay."
And I remember one of the first times I went to an in-person event and met people I'd known for, months or years online. And that was the first thing I remember. You're so tall. You're so tall. And it was a little triggering because, that was something I dealt with my whole life. And then it was like, oh, yeah, I guess you can't tell that when I'm sitting on Zoom.
No,
It's so
not at all.
but I love the way you said that. It really, Zoom does equal the playing field in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say podcasting does too because
Mm-hmm.
I think there's this idea of, oh, they're too big or they have such a big podcast and they wouldn't ever come on mine. I have had people I've reached out to cold or I followed and I'm like, hey, you want to be on mine? And they have award winning podcasts or whatever it may be. And they're like, oh, you have a podcast? I love that. Yeah, I'd love to come on. There's an equal playing field as a podcaster because there's legitimacy, there's respect, and like, oh, you're
Mm-hmm.
doing it too? Oh, you do it all by yourself? Okay, let's go. Like, I'd love to be, there's this community feeling I love in podcasting, and so that's why I just love seeing more people connect into it.
I love that you said that. And it's funny, just a couple nights ago, I went to see the Mel Robbins event. My friend had a free ticket and she's like, "You want to come out in Denver?" I was like, "Yes, let's do it." And to observe the top third podcast in the world and done in 3 years. And I know that people go, oh, well, she knew so many people before that. Oh, she had this and that. I said, listen, I said, the biggest thing that she said and that the feeling that I got, regardless whether she said it, was that she did it in 3 years. So if I just did half of what she did in 3 years with my podcast, then I'll be making the impact that I want to make in the world. And so, not saying I couldn't be where she is in 3 years. And the age was the same. She's 57 now, and I'm 53 and going on 54. So it gave me this possibility. Like, so that's what you're doing for people, Julie, is like giving possibility of what's possible. It was possible for me to, which I never thought, and I've mentioned this a bunch of times, I never thought I'd do a podcast. I'll probably say that every podcast episode, but I never thought I'd do one. And then all of a sudden this day, someone said, you help women share their stories. Like you need a podcast, like what you do naturally in your work that you do. And that's when, of course, I connected with Julie, and then the magic is happening. And I'm loving it, and it fires me up. It put the fire back in my life that I think I mentioned this on your podcast that I didn't realize was missing into my like business. I was all fired up at the beginning of business, and then as I went along, something kind of just ember. It went down a little bit, and wasn't as fiery. And as soon as I started doing this, I realized I don't care if just one person listens to it. Like this is it's putting so much into my life and the women that I get to interview, and just putting so much back into our lives. So thank you.
Thank you for saying that. I love it. When I first started my first podcast in 2021, I didn't know what I was doing. I was just learning. I was learning from different people. I recorded on Zoom. I didn't edit. I just put it out there. And then when people start listening, you start seeing downloads, and then people reach out and are like, I want to be on your podcast. That's one of those moments like,
Mhm.
oh, okay. It's not just reverberating for me, it's reverberating for other people. And my pet podcast, which is my side project, my passion project, I work on it when I can, has been going for 4 years, and it's a top 5% podcast. Not because it has tens of thousands of downloads, not because I am Mel Robbins with a big following, but because I kept putting it out there, and it was something that because I connected with it, other people connected with it, and that is what kept it going. And have I made a difference? There's nothing necessarily quantifiable from it, but I always say if one animal, one cat, one dog, whatever it may be, was saved, was rescued, was adopted because someone listened to one of my episodes, and that's all that matters to me. That was the purpose of that podcast.
Mhm.
And so, like you said, whatever we're putting out there, we feel a calling to share it. And so there's someone out there who needs to hear it. We may never know who they are or if they heard it or whatever, but you just get this sense of there's a reason I need to do it. And I feel so many of us women have held back our stories and our process and our evolution. And that there's so many things I went through that I just wish I knew someone else at the time that had gone through it that I could have gotten a little bit of support or feedback from, right?
Absolutely. And that is actually the number one purpose of why I chose to do the interview style here, like we're doing now, because every story someone goes, oh my gosh, that's me, that's me, that's me. And so on that note, this is the I Gotta Go podcast, and it's about the stories that the woman who was leading life into this from this place of control, usually survival and fear. And again, I say it builds a nice life. Like I had a good life on that. I mean, it gives us so many fierce independent skill sets and get shit done skill sets. But then there's this point where we realize that we are trying to do it all by ourselves, and we realize how exhausted or overwhelmed or for me, I was blocking love. I was blocking different things out of my life because it was like I was just stubborn. Like I'd been doing it since I was 7. So come on now. Um, so I'd love to hear when I say that to you, the one who's moved through it is coming from a place of more trusting and more surrender and more love and joy. What Rick comes up for you? Which story? I mean, I know there's a million stories. I know there's a bunch, but which one hits right now for you that you want to share?
So I'm going to kind of connect it back when I was little. When I was 5, around then, I was diagnosed with an ulcer. So from a very young age, I stuffed my feelings inside. I was the
Mm.
good girl. I was the quiet one. So everyone always assumed I was fine. She's quiet. She's good. She's taking care of herself, kind of thing. My sister had been in a bad bicycle accident. She was in the hospital for several weeks, almost had to have brain surgery. And I was so little, they wouldn't let me see her, and I didn't understand. And so that process kind of ignited something in me of not understanding what I was feeling, not
Mm.
understanding why things were happening. And there was also my grandpa passed away. I was actually in the hospital from dehydration because of the issues I was having. He had a heart attack and was in the hospital at the around the same time in the same hospital, and then
Mm.
he ended up passing away, and he was a very important figure in my life. I still remember it, and I've had this anger in me since 5 that I didn't get to go to
Yeah.
his funeral because I
Mm.
was too little and all of this. So I have realized now that those little things that started way back then, and so many more stories along the way, I was the good girl. I did what I was supposed to. I was a good student. I went to college. I have 2 masters and a doctorate. Yes, I am an overachiever. I got it, girl. I had a career in higher ed, for almost 20 years. And I'd always dealt with health issues, autoimmune, but it was when I hit 40, I was diagnosed with kidney disease because my kidneys were failing from all the medications I'd been on from all the different issues. And then less than 6 months later, my dad passed away. And so 2018 was the beginning of like, I can't keep living like this because then big things happen and it's just overwhelming mentally and physically. And so the next year or two, I tried to keep it together, girls. I tried to keep it together, doing what I'm supposed to, and got a new job closer to home. And I was just miserable. I didn't enjoy work. I didn't want to go. And ultimately, when COVID hit, I was unemployed. I had just had a hysterectomy a few months earlier. So not only had the I got it girl all caught up with me, I was also physically and hormonally changing a lot,
Mm.
and then the world shut. So that was the moment of like I couldn't get it anymore because I didn't have a job to distract me. The world was shut down. My husband is a carpenter, so he only was off for like 2 weeks and then the schools called him back. So I was home alone by myself with nothing to do. And it was like, oh, I don't like this feeling.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean I don't have a to do list or a job or somebody to, it was.
Well, that's a killer for a high achiever. Killer.
Oh, and let me tell you, I'm a girl that can rest. I am a napper. I can take time off. Like I've always had to do that because my energy is finite.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're literally nothing, I couldn't even go like hang out with my mom or anything because we didn't want, we were all being very careful, probably because we all had health issues too. But it was just like when your world slows down that much, it's like right in your face. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh,
Yeah.
what do I do?
Okay, well let me jump in because there's a bunch of stuff here that I want to attach. You mentioned about how when you were younger, and I think a lot of women are going to relate to this because I know I do. When we're younger and we take on these stories of what that we don't want to be a burden, so we stuff our feelings down, like we don't know what to do with it because there's nobody really around to help us, and other people are sick, so I can't be sick. Like, and yet it's causing all these things, and it's so interesting how that reoccurred at 40, like even though it's something that had been going on, under the surface the whole time. And if like, do you tie those two together? Like, do you
I
see
do
like,
now, for
yeah.
sure. And at 12, I had Epstein Barr and I missed almost a whole year of school. And so there have been moments along my life where my life stopped, but the world around me didn't. And so I
Mm-hmm.
think the I got it girl is like once I'm back in it, I'm in it full and I don't know, I don't need anyone. I can do it myself. And that has definitely got me into trouble
Yeah, it's almost
because
like the champion effect. I call that in my world. Like, it's like, I made it back there. Yeah, look at me. And it's like almost like we cause that so we could feel that effect. I know that's
yeah.
I've done that before in the financial world, especially. But
Well,
continue.
I think a lot of us I got it girls, we're still in that baby boomer mentality of you get your degree, you get the job, you get the thing, you hit those goalposts.
Hmm.
Okay, I got my doctorate, I'm married, we have a house, I have a job, like all the things.
Check, check, check,
And then
check.
it's like you're
Yeah.
waiting for it to like be magic, like all, you know what I mean? Like it's all synced and you're like, "Oh, wait, what do I do if I don't like this job or I don't like the people I work with or I just don't like to do it anymore, right?"
Hmm.
And I have changed jobs a lot. I worked in higher ed. You have to move schools to move up. So there were years I was living away from home during the week. I was living on campus. I'd come home on the weekend. And so it's no wonder I literally wore my body out. But
Mhm.
I kept thinking, well, everybody else is doing it and keeping it going. Why can't I? Like, why am I so tired? Why am I disconnected? Why do I not enjoy it anymore? And I think that is a big thing I found is if I'm dreading something, there's something about it that isn't right for me. And for so long, we just do it because we're supposed to, even though we don't like
Yes.
it and we don't enjoy it. And it makes ourselves sick thinking, oh, I don't want to go tomorrow or do that thing or whatever it is. So a lot of the power for me has been like releasing the shoulds and anything from my mom saying, well, are you sure you don't want to go back and get a real job? It's like, mom, you know.
I I I could just feel as you were sharing that, and I'm wondering if other people feel this, as you're listening to Julie explain that layer of like shame and guilt. Like, well, I just did all this schooling. I have to make this work. I just did this.
Yep.
I hear this from my government. I worked in Virginia. I was in Virginia when I started my business, so I have a lot of government and military and stuff like that that I've worked with. And they're like, but the plan is 20, 30 years of this. I can't
Right.
leave, but you're miserable. But I can't, but you can, and it's like,
Yes.
but we go through this, and there's this underlining story from mom, dad, government, whatever world we're in,
Right.
whatever stories of like,
Oh,
we must stick it out. And I know people,
yeah.
you are not alone, girl. A lot of people are relating to this.
And my parents both had incredible work ethics. Like I saw
Hmm.
them put up with some shit in their life. When I
Yeah,
was
me
little, we
too.
had our own furniture store and that was amazing and I loved it. But unfortunately in the 80s, a lot of businesses shuttered for different reasons. And it was really hard to watch them lose their business and then have to take any job they could get and scrape together nickels
Mm.
out of purses to pay bills. And it was hard, but they just kept going and yeah, I saw them struggle, but I never saw them give up. So again, it's that mentality like we learn what we're modeled. And I definitely
Hmm.
was modeled great work ethic, but there have definitely been times in some of my jobs where I stopped giving my all and I took more time off than I knew I should have, and it's almost like I was asking for them to fire me or let go because it was like that was easier than me being the one to have to
Hmm.
say this isn't right and I'm going to give up a good job with good benefits, right?
Hmm.
So I've
Hmm.
really learned that there were points in my life where I did things I shouldn't have, but it was my way of getting out of something that I didn't want anymore.
Yeah, that is the fact that you followed your intuition in those moments, even though they weren't the most direct way of getting what you
Right.
want. It's it's impressive that you listen to it eventually, because there's so much of that inner knowing and those inner voices that we ignore or we're just not hearing because there's too much noise. And until we learn that that is an important thing to listen to and we understand the concept of that, because I know when I came into this 7 years ago, I didn't, what do you mean inner knowing, what do you mean inner voice, like what do you mean, like who are you, and like who are you being? None of that stuff made sense to me. I came in a very masculine world of the restaurant industry for 30 years, and when I got to this world I was like, I don't, like you said when you hit COVID and you were like, I don't know what's going on. Like I don't have a million things to do. Like I what? I mean that's how I felt when I came out of the restaurant industry into business. I modeled my business after a restaurant schedule. I don't know if I've ever told you that. But I
No.
literally like put people all over the board. I had 80 hours a week. I was traveling to networking meetings. This is pre-COVID, the first year. And I was putting a million calls on the schedule. I was working nights, weekends, because that's what you did in the restaurant industry. So you work hard to make money. So I had to work hard in my business to make money. That's the story, right? And I remember my coach being like, "Do you really want to work this for the rest of your life?" And I'm like, "No, but isn't that what I got to do to make money?" And yeah, so we I the switch over to being this high achieving woman that you described, who's gotten all these degrees, has done all the things, has tried to fit the square into the circle even when she was miserable. She gets to COVID, she gets to this place where she's like, it's so quiet. What do I do? So is that when it kicked off your business?
Yeah, so I had already started before COVID actually hit. I was doing some consulting for some
Okay.
schools just as a way to make a little money until I figured out what the heck I was going to do. And I will say that the months after my hysterectomy and into COVID were hard because I have autoimmune issues, and at first I did okay, but then I like went down this like deep
Mm.
fatigue hole where I was sleeping a lot. My brain wasn't working. I remember my mom like, "Why isn't this doing what I want it to do?" And my husband looked at me and was like, "Are you okay?" Like he was like, "Something's wrong," because like this is an obvious thing of why this isn't working, and I wasn't seeing it. And he was like, "Okay,
Mm.
something's off." So I think everything was just kind of like out of whack. And in my doctoral program, we actually had a whole course on how to be a coach because a lot of people with my degree go into executive coaching or corporate
Mm.
coaching, things like that. So I knew I'd always wanted to be a coach because early in my career, I had thought I wanted to be a therapist. But then I realized, oh, I have to hold everybody else's shit all day long and then still deal with my own life. Yeah, that's not going to work for
No, no,
me.
no, no, no.
And shout out to therapists and psychologists because they're
Mm.
doing the work because they take on everyone else's stuff all day long and still have to
Mhm.
function. So I knew I wanted to be a coach. So I originally started career coaching because it was like, well, I know that world. I know how to help people with those kind of things. But of course, it wasn't something I was passionate about. I'd actually taken my first podcasting course then. And, okay, so my business is career coaching. I need a career coaching podcast. And it never got off the ground because I was not
Mhm.
passionate about it. I didn't get excited to get on and say, let's talk cover letters, ladies. Like, no, like, sorry. And some people like that. Good. That was not me. So that's why I started about pets just for fun to see if I liked podcasting. Pets is something I could talk about every day of the week with no prep to anyone in any situation, and I have. And so that's where I thought, like, do it about something I excited about, I enjoy, to see if the podcasting part of it is something I would like. And cut to me realizing this whole interview thing is like, yes, this is my jam. Like I was trained how to interview people and do focus groups and do all these kind of things. So that part of it was easy. I didn't have to think about it. But now I get to reach out and talk to all these amazing people and hear all these amazing stories. And the big thing for me, which was one of the clicks, was as the podcast grew and I kept having more guests, I was starting to meet so many amazing women who, like me, were 30s, 40s, 50s, who were intelligent, amazing people without human kids, like me. And
Mhm.
they had these passions with pets and whatever it may be. And I'm like, oh, I thought I was the only one. And it wasn't like I didn't know anyone else that didn't have human kids, but in a world
Mhm.
of mostly families and that, most of my friends had kids and we do not. And so it opened up a part of the world that I didn't know I was missing. That I
Mhm.
didn't realize I was missing connection with women who were like me in ways that I didn't really have a lot of in my life. And
Mhm.
so that part of podcasting really helped me to come to terms with being okay with things that maybe I hadn't fully been. And it
Mm.
also gave me the
Good.
power to use my voice.
Oh my gosh, there's so many nuggets here. I'm gonna say, so let me go back a little bit. When you shared I love that you shared that, like when I first tried, it didn't click. It wasn't the right one, the career coaching. And this is really important for everyone to hear because you're gonna try to, like, again, fit the circle into the square. You're gonna be like, well, this is because I
Yeah.
do this and because I'm good at this. But it doesn't necessarily mean that's what's aligned with you. And I know the alignment word's thrown around like candy right now, but it's like, I get that. But your body and the feeling, no, try stuff. I like to say throw spaghetti on the wall and see what sticks and then ultimately pick what's aligned with you. So I love that you shared that because people will be like, oh, podcasting's not for me because you tried it once, but you're like, no,
Right.
let me try something that I absolutely know I'm passionate about and love, and let's judge it from there. And that's really
Right.
important to click in because you're like, well, I don't know if pet podcasts are going to make me money or anything. It was just fun. And that's something we need a lot more of in our life all the time, right? And you had fun.
Yes. And I think a lot of I got it girls get so used to doing all the things that they don't allow themselves those other things that are just for fun. Like, and
Yes.
I think that's one thing COVID helped me with was I had the time to buy hair dye and try to dye my hair pink and buy this art thing and this that all these things that I never had time because any free time I had I was exhausted or I was having to fit in family time or time with my husband. And
Mm-hmm.
so now I try to step back and I have a whole bunch of stuff over here in my office. I make bracelets and bag charms and I love gifting people stuff and meaningful stuff, so that's one of the
Hmm.
ways it fills me, but I also just love creating things and taking it apart and putting it back together. I'm a Virgo, so I like to see things in
I
orders.
love that.
But I think a lot of times women lose those pieces of us that maybe we enjoyed as a kid. I loved painting and drawing and creative things as a kid, but then you lose it because you're doing all the things you're supposed to do.
Oh
And
my
I
gosh.
think a lot of women have to tap into that again.
It's so funny you say that. Like my membership, I have a membership that's weekly, and we just did a creativity one last week, the Tuesday before this episode's recording, and we dove exactly into that. I had someone come teach us like this, like how do you disconnect and de-stress through creativity, and the best conversation was everybody throwing out what they loved when they were a kid. I mean, we were talking about mud pies, easy bake ovens, light bright. We were talking about like all the creative things. I remember setting up desks, pretending I'm a teacher. I had no fear of standing in front of a room at that time, and so like we just and then every single like people were like, oh, and I used to take like egg cartons and milk jugs and turn them into these fabulous. I don't know what they were, but they were cool at the time, and I'd sell them to my neighbor, and they'd give me money for it. You know, I mean, we would I had
Right.
all these things that there's a version of us inside that you're describing right now that's inside of us, that's always been inside of us. She hasn't gone anywhere, that we have to allow to come back out and play. And I love that COVID gave you that time and that space because I believe that that was very much, and you tell me, impacted who you are today and how you took this thing, this podcasting thing into an entire business, right? To help women
Right.
like me shine lights on myself and others and share this message to the world. And there was one other thing that I love that you shared, and I just want to highlight it real quick, is about the women that you've met. And something that I can tell you from the restaurant industry, I have zero, zero connections that I'm close with. This business, till now, 7 years, I have ride or dies of people that I know I can call at any time. And I'm like almost going to tear up about how close I am with the people that I've met, the amazing women that I've met in this journey, because I've been going through my healing and all this stuff. But that is huge that this podcast has brought that into your world. Huge.
And I think it, like you said, my old career, yeah, there are people I know and maybe I'm still friends with like on Facebook or something, but there's no one from that career that I ever like became friends with that were like still texting and going out or any.
Mm-hmm.
And I always had a weird way, and I don't know, maybe it was part of the I got a girl. I always kind of kept my work life separate from my personal life. It's so weird. Part of it was because my husband often didn't live in the town where I was working, so people never saw him or met him. But there was like this disconnect between my professional persona and my Julie persona. And
Mm-hmm.
I think going through this process of being an entrepreneur and all this stuff and having a pink wall with all my pet photos and art and I move it around all the time, I realized, oh, it's overlapping now. Professional me and Julie are overlapping. Now there are still some longtime friends and family members who only still see me as that girl, but I've realized that what entrepreneurship and podcasting and having your own business has allowed me to do is to be fully myself every day. Like, I'm
Yes.
not pretending anymore. Like, I will show up like this and be like, this is good enough. You know what I mean? I've got pajama pants on. It doesn't matter because I can
Yep.
still sell and speak and share and educate the same way, whether I'm in a suit like I used to have to wear or whether I'm just, sitting in my office with my PJs on.
Uh,
So for me, it was a lot realizing how separate I kept myself and how little I let that overlap before now.
Now this is a whole episode again, but we're just gonna
Yes.
we're gonna shorten this a bit, but this is another nugget. Please take this away that like so I can't tell you how many conversations I've had with women already on how they separate, right? Oh well, I gotta be this way online, even just when they come into business and they bring that into business until they learn not to, like you did. They say, oh, online, I've got to be this way. I've got to be the professional. I've got to be the knowledgeable. I've got to be the one that knows it all. I've got to be the expert. And then behind the scenes, they're like the little, like the duck legs going bananas underneath the water, and they're just smooth as silk. And I'm like, bullshit. Nothing smooth
Right.
as silk in this. Like, come on now.
Well, and I
And
also think it's given me a BS meter in this online world of fakes and wannabes. It's like,
Mhm.
girl, you don't know what you're talking about. And I can tell. Like, you got to own it. You got to own what you know and what you can do and how you can help people. And I am not an expert and I am not a good at everything. I am someone who oftentimes questions myself. Well, why haven't I got any new members this month? Because I'm not doing enough of this or that or the other, right? And they're doing it. Well, they must be doing it better. I still have those conversations in my head. So the I Got a Girl is not totally gone. I still have
And you're
imposter
human.
issues. But I've also realized it's like, who cares what other people think of me? Like, I don't have time to waste on that anymore. And I wasted a lot of time in my life on worrying about what other people thought of me.
Amen, sister. Oh my gosh. So good. So I just want to kind of wrap this up a bit and just I love that you've taken all of the adversity you've gone through in life and all through all the things we've shared and you've landed in this place of owning you. Like unapologetically. And yes, we are human. We're still going to have that. Some people call it the itty bitty shitty committee, and some people call it, whatever they call it, the voice in your heads. And because we're human. And we still can, we're always growing and learning. And for what's the saying? Like if we're either growing or dying, I'd rather be growing. Okay. Um, so at this point in life, you're owning who you are, you show up. And I love that you just showed up like, I'm in PJs, Jackie, and that's okay. I love that because I'm like, even in the courses that I run or all the things I'm like, you can come with, come right out of the shower, hair tied up in a towel, bring your coffee, bring your thing. Like I value the fact that I want women to always feel like they can just come as they are in my world and be
Yes.
who they are, because that is the most important thing, because we're still figuring out who we are
Yeah.
throughout life and learning new layers. Okay, so we've talked about a lot. So what would be the one thing that you want to leave them with to like just don't forget this, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget this.
So I think it's twofold. It's one, let the little girl inside of you come out, listen to her, think about what makes you happy. Even if you don't have anyone to do that activity with or go try something, just do it because there's a reason you're feeling it. And, I just, you need to feel creative and expansive and also just have fun. And there's nothing
Mm-hmm.
wrong with taking time to have fun because we all need that. But on the other side of it is if you feel a tug, if you're feeling like something is pushing you in a direction you're not sure why, or why you have this feeling, just like Jackie for 4 years, she was guesting and didn't really know why she kept doing it. And I'm never going to have a podcast. And here we are. And just like my Freudian slip earlier, calling myself an author, who knows what that is about? Like, I've just realized it's okay to try it. It's okay to go down a direction just to see what would happen, because it's okay if you decide, nope, this wasn't what I needed or wanted. Okay, over here. And I think so much of us have been built on success and failure. But what I've
Mm-hmm.
had to learn in entrepreneurship is it's okay to try, it's okay to test. It's okay to do something once and realize you don't want to do it again. I'd rather
Mm-hmm.
do that than never have tried it. And so
Yes.
that's why I'm passionate about podcasting, because I'm not a podcast pusher. I don't think everybody needs one, but
Mm-hmm.
it is such a connecting and communal experience for me that I just want more women to experience that. And
Yes.
so it's, if someone's been saying to you, "Hey, come on my podcast," or "You should do this," or "You should write that," or "You should record this," like, maybe just do it to see what happens, because if it's an urge or a push you're feeling, there's a reason.
Yep. Amen. That was me, 100%. You just described me, 100%. And enough people telling me. I love that. I love that. And so obviously people are going to lean into this and go, well, I want more of Julie, and to get to know Julie. So where can they find you, be in your world, or connect with you?
Best place to go is my website, juliemartypearson.com. You will find all of my podcasts there, all of my guest episodes, as well as any upcoming events. I do workshops and networking every month, or you can check out our community that Jackie is a member of. So just go to my website and you'll find all the things, and I hope to connect with you.
And I got to say, the whole under deliver, I mean, under promise, over deliver, that is Julie's method. Like everything she does. And I was in a lot of her free stuff before I ended up joining her program and then joining her membership, because she just pours, like she pours and pours and pours into you. And so when I highly, highly encourage you to just kind of explore her world and get to know her because one, she's obviously a lot of fun, and but she brings a lot to the table too in this world. So if you have that nudge, please, please, please check out the show notes and go into her world. And if you are listening to this, please subscribe, follow wherever you're checking this out, and see you on the next episode. Thanks for coming, Julie. I'm so happy that you're here.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.